Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. We are back once again with Tru Heels BTR Between the Ropes with Garrisaon Creed, one of the top independent wrestlers out in the Midwest. This man is known as the Mercenary, an American combat wrestler. He is might not be someone that you know too well, but you will get to know him right here, and you will get to know him in the future because this man is doing big, big things. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, my man.
Appreciate you taking the time out. Before we get into anything, just a quick reminder to you folks watching at home, push that like button, give us a thumbs up for this interview. Of course, share this video, let other people know more about Mr. Creed right here. And of course, the iCard down at the bottom, you can push that to subscribe and the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat. So, Mr. Creed, Garrisaon Creed, I've been asking everybody on these Tru Heels BTR, how has this pandemic and this crazy time in the world been treating you?
Give and take. It's definitely a huge obstacle, especially when you're trying to be in the entertainment business, such as professional wrestling, and an aesthetic one at that. I mean, you're still performing at superior athletic levels, so you got to stay in shape. Most gyms are closed. You got to think of alternative ways to work out, and you can tell who's finding those ways and who's not. On top of it, I mean, there was a solid 3 months there where nobody worked. There wasn't any social gatherings allowed in the country at all. But since June, things have been starting to open up. I've been taking advantage of that, people still being a little pessimistic, a little skeptical about going on out and being on shows. I expanded my search. I came back into the ring in Oklahoma in June. That was supposedly the first legally sanctioned show in the U.S. since the pandemic started.
Wow.
But ever since then, yeah, I've just been expanding to new areas. My normal territory isn't up and running yet, so I haven't been able to depend on that. So I've been taking the opportunity to go out to new companies, new places, new crowds, expand my name, bust my own ass trying to keep myself in shape, if not even get at a better level than I was at before. It's just trying to get around that obstacle. I mean, this one, it's a major thing that put a monkey wrench into everybody's plan. So it's just how you adapt to that. That proves what you got.
So how was your initial reaction to finding out everything going on in the world all the way back? It seems like when I tell people March was just 6 months ago, they'd be like, really? It was 6 years ago in the mind, really. But how was your initial reaction, and how did it affect your career?
St. Patrick's Day, actually, I remember. It sucked. It was a big OS moment right there. You don't know. I mean, here I am. I'm looking at my schedule, and I got 3-4 shows every weekend to crash and burn. You have nothing. And so I mean, I'm sure everybody kind of had that downward spiral feeling for a bit. They started, getting in that depression. There's still a couple of guys that are still trying to climb out of it. I even went downward for a little bit, but then I kind of, did what I did back in the day, tightened up the bootstrings, started sending out resumes, reaching out to new areas, finding out who's got plans to run. Kept having to adapt my workout routine, from everything from, I acquired some Diamond Dallas Page yoga. I started doing that, take care of some old injuries, got some very moderate weights for at home, started incorporating more plyometrics in my own personal workouts, got a bicycle so I can bike around, got an elevation map so I can simulate working out at higher elevations. Went through runs through wood lines, through parks, using children's playground equipment to do pull-ups, push-ups, anything, just kind of advance the workout. And I've had to adapt it almost weekly just to kind of keep up with what's going on. Now that a couple of gyms are open, Planet Fitness by me is open up again, so I've started hitting that hard twice a day. They started joking about putting a cot in the back of the place because I'm there so often. But no, yeah, initially it was crap. What am I going to do now? And I took that time to personally. I did have a couple of injuries too, so I let those heal. And after not too long, about June time, um, things started opening up, and I looked real deep inside myself and went, "Do I want to jump in the ring now and risk what's going on, or do I want to be at the forefront, in the front lines, and provide that entertainment for that escape for people because it does hit you mentally as well across." And I did that. I jumped back in the ring, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to help provide that entertainment and that escape for people, and I take that personally.
So, you say you get back into the ring in June. You've been doing a couple of shows for the last couple of months. How has it changed as far as like these promotions taking care of the performers as well as the limited amount of fans that they're able to have at these different shows?
Um, Again, they gotta adapt. Some places are trying to run with less capacity. They're enforcing masks as well as they can. You used to have a little bit of a kickback to that because people just plain don't want to wear them. There's more thermometer checks at the bare minimum at the doors. I was down at the Dallas Indie Wrestling Expo, and they actually they COVID tested everybody that was going to be in the ring performing at that event. Um, and the one thing that really worked, I think, was we did this at the Indie Wrestling Expo, and they're doing this over at Warrior to maintain the social distancing. Is they're having the ring set up in a field of some sorts. Indie Wrestling was an indoor soccer field. Warrior is on an outdoor football field, and they're allowing fans to come on in their groups, bring lawn chairs, bring blankets, and there's kind of a picnic field, but everybody's spread out their own distances away. I mean, you're fitting 300 plus people on a football field, but it doesn't feel like that. They're not crammed in there like sardines in a can. They got plenty of distance. Um, and for the most part, you do have a lot of people that are being respectful, wearing their masks, and making sure that their hygiene is up, and maintaining all the safety precautions that they should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I got to hand it to guys like Mr. Kyle Hessler and Indie Wrestling Expo, Steve on Warrior Wrestling. They're doing their best to protect you performers, so you got to love to see that. So to kind of go now back a little bit, your start in the wrestling industry. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know I read here on your profile you were trained in the infamous Dojo of Pain, led by Shane Hill. So how did you, first of all, before you get into like your training, how did you discover the world of professional wrestling?
Tell you the truth, I didn't know much about indie wrestling at all. I knew WWE and WCW, and then, well, of course, ECW and any other tie-ins of that. NWA way back when, AWA, such like that. I knew of that legitimate territory type large companies. Me personally, I was a big fan of WCW back in the day, especially during the Monday Night Wars, and I saw it. I saw the likes of Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, early Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, and Chris Benoit. I mean, those guys, I mean, they brought it whenever they were in the ring. And I wanted to emulate that. But very early on, just like any little kid that wants to be the star quarterback to their favorite football team, there comes a point when you realize it's not going to happen. And that was for me. So upon graduating high school, I went on out. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet, but I knew I wanted to experience life. I want to experience the world. So I did that by signing up for the service. I did time in the Army as an infantry. Went on, did that, did multiple tours overseas, doing various undercover of night type things. Got out, got my college degree, went into the workforce, and I was missing that adventure aspect of things. Here I went and did things overseas in the Army, got my adrenaline levels way up here, and now I'm coming back and I'm working here and nothing's exciting anymore. The world's blah.
Yeah.
And then I find out that this Mr. Shane Hills has a wrestling ring set up in his barn, and he lives 8 miles from my place. Why the hell am I not there? So I get a hold of his phone number, give him a call, and I started training that Sunday morning, and every Sunday morning for a long time.
So how did it like compare, like being in the Army, that type of experience, and then transitioning from there to training to become a professional wrestler?
Um, Definitely. I mean, the workout routines are completely different, but they're still intense, and you got to have a level of stubbornness, a level of don't quit to be able to do both. And I think being in the military, where they don't allow you to quit, really instilled that into me. And now I'm working my ass off towards something that, as the way I'm looking at it, is a second chance at doing my dream to be that quarterback for that football team. So I took that very personally, and I just dug down deep and made it happen. I was already very well in shape, doing Tough Mudder and Spartan races and various martial arts training, but nothing had that goal-oriented nature like professional wrestling offers. So and I'm still, even to this day, I'm kicking it up a notch. I'm getting to a new level. I have a new motivation. I have a new goal, and I'm like, okay, I need to again adapt my workout routine to be able to keep up or perform at a higher level for the goals that I want to attain. And at least I believe that my military aspect in that gave me the opportunity to game plan and take that step back and put together a plan of action to be able to achieve those goals.
Awesome. So, you said that you started off as a wrestling fan during the Monday Night War. Over on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, we have a series called True Rewind, where we go back in time to review the Monday Night War from the beginning. So you say you're a WCW guy. So my main question, this is probably the most important question that I'm going to ask you.
All right. Shoot.
Steve Mongo McMichael, better wrestler or commentator?
Oh, God, that's a hard one. I really don't think he was good. Hey, you know what? Now, when I go down to Rocket Pro, I pass Mongo McMichael's restaurant that he's got down there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. I never actually seen him there, but they make a hell of a lot better burger than his wrestling career was.
We have something that we call a True Rewind, because we're in the early stages where he's still a commentator, and we have the Mongo meter, and we've done 15 episodes of Nitros. He's been awful on all 15 episodes, so he's got a perfect record so far. But
the only thing, I love seeing Mongo McMichael on TV, only because you get to see what little outfit his Chihuahua was wearing that week.
Absolutely. That's always like they stop me and they ask me, what did Mongo say and what was Pepe wearing? The last episode.
I don't know, but Pepe was wearing the sombrero.
He was wearing leather this week, and Mongo said he's here to see mean and nasty boys. So it was very interesting. Always a good time. So being a wrestling fan, transitioning from that to actually training to be a wrestling fan. We talked about the transition from, being in the military to training for wrestling. How was the transition from being just a fan of professional wrestling to actually knowing the inside of it and training to become a professional wrestler?
Huge crash course for me. When I went out and did the military, when I signed up in 2003 and left, and when I started training in 2016, that's a huge black hole of professional wrestling for me. I didn't watch a lick of professional wrestling in that time frame. So all of my basics that I understood was, the prime and towards the end of the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor started in 2002. I missed the entire indie revolution. So where I'm going on in, I'm starting training here. I'm 225 pounds. I think I got to move like a Psychosis or a Rey Mysterio or an Eddie Guerrero, and I'm training like that because I'm thinking that's how I got to work. And I'm getting berated often. Work your size, work your size, work your size. I am working my size. I got to be a high flyer. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And then I get trained to the level and I start doing shows, and I'm the biggest guy in the locker room. And I'm like, click. That's what it is. I wasn't aware of the Seth Rollins or the Bryan Danielsons or anybody else like that, realizing that the little guys had taken over.
Yeah.
They become the heavy hitters. Your Finn Balor's, who, I mean, still is maybe 180 pounds, but he's wrestling Brock Lesnar levels. He's wrestling like he's a 300 pounder, and he's not. And that's where I went, okay, I crash course, relearn, watch a lot, and then readapt my style and work differently. And tell you too, when you come on out and you look like a dime store knockoff G.I. Joe action figure, they don't want to see you go on out there and do a Texas Cloverleaf or do some fancy little wrist locks and all that stuff. They want you to, back elbow the guy and jack him in the jaw as hard as you can. That's what they put their ass in that seat to see the soldier do. So, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to deliver.
So, with that black hole, like not really experience like the whole indie wrestling revolution and now becoming a professional wrestler and kind of having to study the tapes and look back on it during your time as a professional wrestler, who is the wrestler that you've been able to watch and learn a lot from?
Actually, I go even further back. I probably look at Kurt Hennig and Dynamite Kid and early British Bulldog, were a lot of the stuff that I did. Or Barry Windham was another one. I mean, those are kind of the guys I pick a lot from. I also lean back on a lot of my mixed martial arts background to kind of, because there's a lot of transition into realistic form inside professional wrestling. So if I can transfer that over, and then not even modern times now, I do watch a lot of Chris Benoit and Brock Lesnar, Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, and I try to just see what's working and what I like to do, and see what feels natural for me inside the ring, and that's what I go with. So I think having that black hole, it gave me enough understanding of the basics and the old school mentality, which a lot of people have lost. Combine that with what I'm taking away from the indie stuff or the newer stuff that I think is working, that looks legitimate, and I'll take that and I go on out there and I give the fans and the ticket buyers a legitimate experience. I want to take them away from that. What the internet has done is taken away kayfabe. I want to take that away. I want to take that knowledge that, hey, they know what's going on. No, you watch a Garrisaon Creed match, you don't know what's going on, and that guy is getting messed up.
Love it, man. So how did you develop your whole character with the American Mercenary? Of course, being in the military had to help with that type of character, but how were you able to develop it over your time as a professional wrestler over the last couple of years?
Tell you the truth, there's actually no development to it whatsoever. I came on in we had blah tights, went on out there, and I wanted to become a character. And it just so happened that for a one-off show that we were doing to raise money for local VFW, we came up with the idea, hey, we have this guy over here. He's our American veteran hero. Well, you're also an American veteran. Why don't you beat a Cobra to this G.I. Joe? Okay. Hey, it's a one-off. I'll do it.
Yeah.
5 years later, it took off. They wanted that soldier. And not only do I want to say give them off a realistic portrayal, I mean, it kind of is. It is who I am. It's exactly, it's the person behind the sheets that I wanted to kind of mask. This actually gives me an out to come on out there and be like, hey, no, I am an American combat veteran. No, not all soldiers are nice people. We got trained to do very, very nasty things. Let me show you. And that's kind of what it is. I'm out there, I'm portraying exactly what the U.S. government trained me to do. And no, it's not. I'm trying to take away that wonderment, that glorification of the soldier, and bring down the nitty gritty of it. That we are warriors, and I'm going to show you that we fight, and we may have to fight dirty to go over and win.
Love it. Simple to the point, and yeah, they didn't teach you all nice things in the military, so you got to show that in the ring for sure.
Exactly.
So how would you say, we talked about who you've learned from, like watching professional wrestling, and then over the time that you miss watching it back, who has been the guy in the ring that has taught you the most, that you've been able to share the ring with?
I've been fortunate enough to be in the ring with a fair amount of people that are becoming very successful. Locally, one of my trainers was Stacy Shadows, who honestly, watch my language. She is the baddest bitch in the Midwest, and she'll work you even tougher than any guy in the area at all. Being in the ring with Silas Young, he taught me how important it was to put your opponent over, so you make your win that much more important. Getting a chance to have the Mercenary against the Bullet Club and Chase Owens multiple times up in Canada, that just showed I can keep up with the higher. That told me that I can keep up with higher tier athletes in this business. Jonathan, being able to square up with Jonathan Gresham in a couple of training exercises, kind of learned that small guy technique and a little bit of technical proficiency. Being on the road constantly with Tony Kazina, who is now the head dojo, the head trainer over the Fale Dojo over in New Zealand, just leading off so many young lions over to New Japan Pro right now. I'm so happy to have had the chance to travel with him so much and to take away and pick his brain as much as I did. And then, of course, I got to go roll it all the way back into that solid foundation that I got from Shane Hills here in Wisconsin. Without that solid foundation, I wouldn't be able to build the skill set that I have and be able to do the things that I'm doing.
Awesome, man. So you're in the Midwest, in the Wisconsin area. I know you do some traveling over into Chicago, and I feel like that's the hub when it comes to independent wrestling right now. When you got freelance wrestling, you got warrior wrestling. I know you got a big event coming up with Chicagoland. Tell us a little bit about your experience in the Chicago independent scene.
It's very brief. I just started breaking out there last year over at Rocket Professional Wrestling, which has given me the opportunity to be in the ring with my two opponents coming up for the Chicagoland event in Marche Rocket and Chris Shogun Logan, both of which are highly touted, highly seasoned veterans. They've been places, they've done things, they're highly respected. And come October 3rd in Michigan City, Indiana, where we're taping the event, it's the three of us in a triple threat to crown the first Chicagoland Championship Wrestling champion. I've been in this business long enough to maybe take a sip out of my coffee, and being able to be thrown into this situation with these two guys, it humbles me. But at the same time, it creates this void. It makes me hungry. They're entrusting me in such a position to go on out there and nail this main event match out of the park. And I just want it to be the best. I'm going to go on out there. I want Marche to be on his best. I want Chris Logan to be on his best. Just so that way, when I go on out there, I want to prove to the entire world I'm not just a Midwest guy. I'm not just a Canada guy. I'm not just this guy that kind of sporadically shows up all over the nation. I want to be that next tier guy that you want to bring on in to put those asses in your seats and to put your championship around the waist of. And I'm looking at this as my opportunity to be able to do that.
Wish you a whole bunch of luck on that one, sir. I know you're gonna deliver some entertainment for the fans, but most of all, some pain for your opponents for sure. Tell us what your next goals are going to be in professional wrestling. What is on some of the things that you have on your bucket list that you want to accomplish?
The bucket list is overflowing. I want to work anybody who's anybody in the business, whether they're a top tier WWE athlete, AEW athlete, an indie darling. Whoever it is, I want my opportunities to shine on all stages. I'm kind of nailing them out of the park right now already, kind of breaking on out, having my debut with Warrior, getting noticed in Chicago and the Chicagoland areas. I have made a couple of appearances over on the East Coast. It debuted already for the Monster Factory, been over at Real Shoot Wrestling. I got a couple of more shows coming on up down in the Texas area and breaking out down there. But I'm kind of on the cusp of just breaking out nationally and being that national guy that goes places. and I'm hoping that continues to go on down. So next year, I'm booking flights over to Europe, England, Germany, Austria, Italy, and also I want to go on the other side of the globe too, in Japan. Um, Not just having that national feel, that national impact. I want to start making a worldwide impact. When my music hits and the ring announcer announces that, hey, Garrisaon Creed's coming on out, and he operates at locations worldwide, I take that shit seriously. That's where I want to do. Anywhere you want to book me, fly me on in. I want to come on in, deliver, and make an impact everywhere.
Love it, man. We want to see you out here in New York for sure. We got a bunch of independents that would love to have some mercenary action going on here. So I hope that you make a trip over to the East Coast as well, brother.
You hear that, New York area promotions? Book me.
Exactly. But you read the sign here. You know what you're on. You're on Tru Heels BTR. You're on Tru Heel Heat. So I love to ask these questions. You say you're a wrestling fan from the Monday Night War. You've been able to go back and watch some of the stuff that you miss. What is, in your opinion, the greatest heel moment that you have witnessed as a professional wrestling fan and a professional wrestler?
Oh, the greatest heel moment. I mean, you had that back in the day when you were a baby face, you were a baby face for life. You were a heel for the life. So the greatest heel turn ever still has to be Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You don't see that kind of reaction from a crowd when, I mean, you cover the entire ring with soda cups and beer bottles and rest of garbage because you're so damn pissed off because you're the man that you're looking at for the last 20 or so years. Superman just went rogue. He just turned his back on you. It's got to be the biggest heel turn ever, still to this day.
Awesome. I agree with you. And that's why I'm ready to, we're about to finish up with 1995 on True Rewind, but I can't wait for 1996 to get to that moment right there. And
huge year.
Honestly, both shows, Raw and Nitro, that was like the turning point that made us into the Attitude Era. But not a lot of people acknowledge.
Yes, it was.
So, in your opinion, talking about the greatest heel moment, who is the greatest heel you have been able to see during your time in the professional wrestling world?
Greatest heel. I mean, you got really so many. Triple H, comes to mind because not only is he just awesome, he comes on in and he can turn a dime like that. He's got him played out. Randy Orton comes on. You don't know which direction he's coming from. Try as he might, but he was baby-faced about it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, he went on out there, and he was probably the dirtiest face in the game. But he'll come on out and say, hey, he was trying to be heel the whole time. It didn't work. But, I mean, it's always that when you can go on out and actually turn while talking to the crowd. And right now, the guy he's belted and he's world-renowned and I think is great at turning a crowd on a dime and then turning them back against him, Nick Aldis.
That's a good shout right there. Nick Aldis is in my opinion, he's very underrated. This man is putting on one of the greatest title reigns of my era, and not a lot of people are talking about him, but he doesn't get enough credit for what he does.
And that's all. No, he does all of that without even putting the mic down.
Love it. And I love his ability to talk. You're definitely right about that, good brother. So tell the people at home as we wrap things up about what you got on tap next. Talk about the Chicagoland event and where they can find you on social media and all these different platforms.
All right. Well, the biggest thing coming on up that's set up is the October 3rd Chicagoland event in Michigan City, Indiana. Like I said, there's very few tickets left. It is also going to be taped and aired on Amazon Prime. I don't have a time window on that, but so you got to look out for it. If you want to contact me personally, that's not a problem. I'm on all your social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All you got to do is look up Garrisaon, Garrisaon. CREED. I pop up on all three of them. I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees site set up, prowrestlingtees.com/Garrisaon Creed. Get yourself some Mercenary gear.
Awesome. This man is on the rise. So definitely get your Mercenary gear. Follow this man on all your social media platforms. Like he said, the Chicagoland event is on Saturday, October 3rd. Bell time is 7 p.m. You can check if you're not able to be out in the Chicagoland area. Like he said, it's available on Amazon Prime. So definitely support this man right here. This man is not only one of the best independent wrestlers going on in the world today, but as you can tell with this interview, he has a passion for professional wrestling, being a fan as well. And we love to support folks like you, brother.
All right. Hey, thank you very much for having me, my man.
Of course. So for the good brother, Garrisaon Creed, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heels BTR. We are signing off until next time.